I get that. Talking about your family though, you were raised in Maine, right? Born and raised in Maine. What were you like as a kid?
I think I was really like hyper vigilant. Like I was really in everybody's business a little bit. But I think that I was even thinking like a couple weeks ago about how I do
Shit.
one of my many toxic traits is I do kind of walk around with like a little bit of a, all right, who's trying to fuck me over? You know? And I was like, I don't know, there's a chance that it's like, oh, you're spilling bedtime. You think I don't know what's happening here? You know, like just I don't know, just being real aggressive about like how I wanted things done and like very opinionated. But I can't really tell if that comes from childhood or from like working in an industry where I'm sure you've experienced, it's like you agree to certain things and then it's like, oh, and can we also do this thing that would be really humiliating for you and not like pay you any extra money or check with you in advance and ask you in front of a group of people. So if you say no, you'll look like a bitch. You know, so I'm just always like, all right, who in this room is trying to fuck me over?
That's so interesting that you're like, did that happen when I was young? Or is it just like something I can't not remember? Because you started in the industry at what, like 10 you started really getting into it?
Yeah, I started kind of auditioning for things when I was 10 and I booked my first gig when I was 12. So, but I mean, I wasn't auditioning all the time because I lived in Maine. And so either one of my parents had to drive me to New York City for like a 15-minute audition. And they were like, well, sweetie, we love you, but Jesus. So eventually, my brother and I would take a Greyhound bus from Maine to New York. And that's one of the situations where we were in that I auditioned for this show that I ended up getting. And we were in New York and they asked me, are you cool to like stay for a callback tomorrow? And I was always just told like, well, just say yes. You'll figure it out later. So I was like, absolutely. I will see you tomorrow. No problem. And my brother and I like, then are just like, okay, we need to find a hotel in New York City.
Anna, what are you, 11?
I'm 12. He's 13 or 14. So we found a hotel and my parents called the hotel and faxed a credit card and told them like, yes, we'll be along shortly.
Do you not ask Weenie or I'm a fraud?
And so I like wash my underwear in the sink and then just like put on this. I mean, luckily there is like a thing where if you get a callback, it's kind of conventional wisdom that you should wear the same thing. So that didn't seem like I was the gross kid with one pair of clothes.
Same underwear.
But so then the next day the same thing happened. And again, it was like, no problem. I will see you again in the morning, and had to do it again. And then oh, that's right. They did ask me because I was wearing combat boots, and they were like, "Can you?"
Answer for Rachel's
part was for like a little rich girl.
Okay.
So they were like, "Could you like wear something like we just love to see you in more of a kind of Sunday best outfit?" And specifically someone mentioned my shoes. So I was wearing this like ratty cardigan and like ripped jeans and these like combat boots. But I was like, the solution will be to go to the nearest Payless and find like white church strappy sandals. And so like with like the last $20 that we had, I like bought this pair of sandals, like dress sandals, and wore those with my ratty cardigan and jeans, and then like wandered in, and I think they were just like, oh, for fuck's sake, yeah, fine, whatever, great. And then we were on a Greyhound bus home, and we had this phone for emergencies, and that rang, and it was like, hey, you're gonna be on Broadway.
I'm like trying to picture 12-year-old me walking around in New York City with my brother who's 2 years older than me. I'm like, how the hell were you not even scared?
I think that we just thought it was like such an adventure. And I think we also like wanted to be like cool New York City kids so fucking bad that we were just like, yeah, this is so normal. I can't remember if we were like low key freaking out or not, but I know that, I mean, even when I went there at 17, I did this show at New York City Opera, and I remember like riding the subway to work and seeing like, oh my God, you see those gorgeous girls who are like going to American ballet.
Yes.
And being like, and like looking at them and being like, "Oh, we're really doing it. Oh my God. I'm in New York and I'm going to work and I'm going to work on the subway. And it's like not a big deal at all. Which if you're thinking about it like that, it's a huge fucking deal to you. I had no chill. But that was the
that's
vibe.
sweet. Okay, all of this is happening. I know that you were nominated for a Tony Award when you were just 12. So it came from that?
Yeah.
Okay, what did kids in school think?
It's weird. Again, like, I don't know if you've experienced something like this, but there were several moments where it felt like if I mentioned anything to the kids at school, they, don't get me wrong, understandably, sort of thought I was like talking about something else. Like,
Lord of India.
like in the same way that if someone in my school, in like middle school or high school, had been like, oh yeah, I'm going to Olympic trials, I would be like, so there's some kind of like local, like, oh, it's the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like, I would just be like, no, you're not.
Right.
Like, because that just doesn't make sense because we're from Maine. Like, what are you talking about? I remember having like a really little indie film in the Sundance Film Festival when I was 16, 17. And going to Sundance. And I remember one of my close friends, one of my like best friends, called me and was like, "That's so weird. There's something on the news about. I think it was. I could be getting this mixed up, but I think it was like the year that Britney Spears and like Fred Durst went to Sundance together. Or there's something. Maybe I'm hallucinating. It was some other story. I don't know. But she called me and she was like, yeah, they're at like the Sundance Film Festival. And isn't that so weird? Because you were just saying that you're doing something called Sundance, but it's like happening at the same time. And I was like, I'm at Sundance. I'm at the Sundance Film. That's why I was so fucking excited about it.
Right. You're like, I'm here with Britney Spears.
Yes. And like she was like a close friend. So I think like there's an understandable thing that happens where you're just like,
yes,
not you.
They just
not
didn't
from
get it.
here.
They didn't get it. So you didn't talk about it over the toply where like people would even have a concept of it.
No. I mean, even I think there was a luckily very brief window where
audience.
It was kind of like a teasing situation. So it was like, I knew better than to be like running my mouth about it too much.
Because people would make fun of you.
Yeah.
Isn't that so weird? Meanwhile, it's like everyone wants to be a movie star.
I don't know. I think just drawing any attention to yourself in middle, like particularly this was like in middle school, like right after I did the Broadway show. It's like, you just want to disappear. Like, I think people talk about high school as being cutthroat. Middle school was so much scarier to me.
It was so horrible. I completely agree. High school is actually like, I started to get my shit together. Middle school, I was terrified.
Yeah. I remember feeling like, just like trying to be like a moving pile of laundry.
Overconfidence.
Just wearing like the biggest clothes and just trying so fucking hard not to draw any attention to yourself.
Yes.
Draw more.
You obviously start to become so successful. Like, was your family like, oh, this is normal?
I found some success, and then I think this is pretty typical for entertainment stuff, that like the money really follows like several years later. There's that period where you're like, okay, I'm like low-key a little famous, but I am so fucking broke it would make you tear up how broke I am. So you're kind of trying to fake it till you make it. But like I had brought my family to the Oscars, and there was a really interesting moment a few years later when I like bought my first place and I had them at my place, and it was like you could feel the energy, particularly for my mom and dad, of like, oh, okay. And it wasn't a mansion, but it was just like, oh, you're going to be okay. Because they were obviously like very proud. But there's things with like awards and reviews where that's great, but it's still really abstract.
Yeah.
And to just see something solid where it was like, okay, our crazy, daughter who didn't go to college like has managed to buy a home. It was like I could feel not so much like pride, but that they were actually like, Oh, you made it.
Right,
Okay.
like, relieved, like,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It all worked out. Like, we don't have to worry about now her like going back to college and trying to figure out something else.
Completely. She's not going to move in with us and like drain us dry. Yeah.
Love. You've been in so many great movies. I want to talk to you about a few of them today. We got to start with Pitch Perfect, obviously. What was that audition process like?
Well, I think that the most interesting piece, or the piece that has certainly followed me around, is when I auditioned. They needed you to just like prove that you could sing, and I was like, well, I know how to do this thing. There's a cup and there's this song and I could do that. So it was just because I was like, well, where else am I going to do it? Because I was like lame enough and dorky enough to have bothered like learning this thing. And so I did it for my audition and they were like, we should put that in the movie. And originally in the script, like Becca, my character's audition song was "I'm a Little Teacup," which I keep meaning to ask the writer Kay Cannon, like, was that meant to be like funny? How would that have worked? How was I supposed to play that? I don't know what I was supposed to do.
Would you have gone?
Was
like,
I supposed to like do like a Christina Aguilera version of "I'm a Little Teacup," or was it supposed to be like oh, I like resent that I have to do this, and but I sound fine. So
how do you think you would have done it?
I guess like that. I mean, I would have been relying on somebody to tell me like what the vibe was supposed to be.
Right.
But luckily, I didn't have to figure it out. So they were like, well, let's do that for Becca's audition, and I was like, great. Making use of a useless skill. And then
get it because of One Piece
then
and the manga?
People, when they saw the movie, like would ask about it and stuff. And so then the studio was like, we should release this as a single. And I was like, what are you fucking stupid? We're releasing this as a single? That's so embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed for us.
That's a lot of pressure.
So they had me like go into the studio for like 20 minutes. A hit that was made in 20 minutes, and just like sing the rest of the song. And I was like in there with a stool and a cup doing the cup in this weird studio. And then they were like, what if we did a music video? And again, I was like, what's going on? This is so, you guys, I'm so embarrassed for you. Like, I just was like, there's no way anybody would care about this. Like, whatever. So we like make this music video, and then it like, which is, by the way, why am I saying this phrase? Why is this phrase coming out of my mouth? It started climbing the charts.
It started climbing the charts.
Part of my story and my life. I was just like, what is fucking happening? This is so out of the realm of anything that's supposed to be happening. And I always thought
D27
because I was in the middle of making this like indie film, and I'd be getting like texts from people going like, it just like got into the top 10 of like Billboard's top 100. And I was like in the basement of some church, like shooting this tiny little indie film. Meanwhile, I think it was, speaking of the times, Miley Cyrus and Macklemore was like also in the top 10. And so I always just think like, they must have been like, what the fuck is this shit?
Literally,
like, who is this girl? What is this? How dare you? I'm out here like busting my ass on Good Morning America, putting on a live performance, and this like freak